because of the previous statement of my belief in the formation of government is around public safety. So even though it is a hard to determine dollar amount, I don't believe, and I don't have a problem speaking for the remainder of the board, that our commitment is still there for you to stay at that level, to stay at the present funding mechanism so that you don't have to lay off any deputies. It is kind of a nebulous thing to put the weight behind it, because the dollar figures do vary from day to day, et cetera, or just in the interpretation of your department versus the CEO's department. But as much as we made that commitment of contingency for you last year, I'm feeling, and my gut's telling me, that that commitment is here for the entire board to keep you at that present staffing level. A funding, a position level of 35 years ago is still in effect today. You know, I spoke about archaic and caveman mentality on another issue just within the last hour. That in itself, to maintain staffing levels that were created 35 years ago, with the huge increase in population that Mendocino County has had and the huge increase in crime activity that we've had in those 35 years, certainly would justify additional staffing. We just can't come up with the money to do it. So to maintain what we have, to me, is a very core position for us to have and hold in our heart. And I'm not having a problem with speaking with the rest of the board that I believe that's our position.
And I appreciate that, Chair. And with all due respect to the CEO's office and to what you just said, if the Sheriff's Office funding is approved as was presented today, this is going to be an every month event. This is going to be an event that I'm going to come to you and ask you who this month. And so it's a tough decision. You know, I'm back to the parking lot. If the amount of money that is different from what the Sheriff's Office says we need and the CE's office needs, it would dwarf anything on that parking lot. So how do we get there from here? How do we continue on with the funding that you talked about, Mr. Chair? And how do we say the Sheriff's Office funding will be adequate enough to fund the level of service that we're used to and not harpoon the boat? It's a quandary here, a quagmire.
Supervisor Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sheriff, a question and then, you know, a few comments too woven in, I guess. It seems that last year we weren't exactly at an impasse, but we were only at an impasse not in terms of the intent, but the specifics of how we were going to get there. And I think we came up with our final solution was the $500,000 contingency. And then I guess that was accessed later, and you were very gracious in your understanding why the county needed to sort of draw that out as long as possible, given the credit ratings and the other things you referenced. So that was a solution set for last year. Some similarities, some differences. So this year, we don't have two sets of numbers. We only have the CEO's numbers, which are in the original budget large binder. We've got this final budget worksheet that we've gone over with the multicolor, and it's about 5 pages long, I think. And then we have now this evolving, which we always get to in one form or another, this parking lot concept. So do you feel that it's adequate to you've heard what the CEO said, you heard the intent of Supervisor Pinches and now Supervisor, our Chair Wattenberger, that the intent is there to continue those funded positions and make sure that there are no layoffs in those funded positions. So without going into the details, I guess what the question is, we haven't gone into the detail. I'm not sure that going into the detail is going to get us down a path to resolution. But I guess I'm asking you, do you think it would, or do you feel that at this juncture, the commitment the CEO's made and two of my colleagues have made will, in a sense, sort of mirror in a different way where we were last year. And it worked. We all made it work.
Supervisor Smith, I trust you. I trust all 5 members of the Board of Supervisors, and I trust the CEO. So when you say, and several of you have, your commitment to make sure that we're funded to the appropriate source where we can provide the coverage that we're providing now, I guess I'm just saying, are you sure you're fully aware of what you're getting into? Because there is a discrepancy in the numbers. And we know what the economic trend is for the next 2 years. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. A COP can figure it. It doesn't take a CPA. And so going there and looking at those numbers that we're going to see and hearing the need for more funds through our county, I would ask you, I with all due respect, I'm going to turn the question around. And are you prepared to listen to me and help me in January and February when I come to you? Because I'm prepared to, if this board approves this budget as submitted, I'm prepared to walk out that door happy. But I'm also prepared to come back here in January and say, well, the train's on the track. Where are we going to go? And I'm not prepared for someone to say, why didn't you tell me this? Because I'm telling you now.